It's quite an experience to be teased about something for what 26 episodes of television. Well, oh nope, 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 and you know what? We're back.
Commander, look at this.
The crew discovers frozen survivors from the 20th century.
What's gonna happen to us?
In the middle of a perilous mission to confront arch enemies.
You think that we attacked your outposts?
Could this feared encounter spark an explosive battle?
I recommend we go immediately to battle stations.
Find out on Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Romulans are back. What an odd episode, though. Like, I wouldn't expect them to come back in this episode, per se, with three surviving 20th century Earth people. And, like, oh yeah, also Romulans are here. It's very strange. Like, once again, one of those episodes where it's like, good stuff, but, like, both not getting enough, if that makes any sense. Like, I don't know, if it was too much on one, would it be like too like okay, enough? But I don't know. What do you think?
A little bit of behind the curtain. We said before starting the episode, starting to watch it, I was like, well, good luck to this episode because we loved the last one so much. And we watched these back to back. And surprisingly, I don't think that affected it. I enjoyed the episode. It's not amazing, but I enjoy it more for like what it does for Romulans and TNG in that aspect. Like, they're back. That's the point of the episode. So now, moving forward, you know they're going to be in the show. Up to this point, they've only been named and teased. So now it's like, okay, they're part of the show. So I appreciated that on the Romulan side. But this episode absolutely needed the frozen human storyline, because without it, it would be 40 minutes of being teased about Romulans until they eventually show up. There wasn't much story there.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know what else they could throw in there to make it, like, to not take away from it. It felt kind of even down the middle, but also it's like, okay, all these human these Federation space stations are destroyed. It's like, what's destroying them? And then come across the Romulans, and there's this kind of like great scene with Picard. Like, everyone's like, oh, fire.
Stay calm, everyone.
They believe humans and Klingons are a waste of skin.
Lieutenant, control your emotions.
And like, Picard's like, easy, we're not going to do that. And he like made the right choice. And then it ends where it's like, oh yeah, you better watch it. Some of our space stations were destroyed as well. Well, you better watch out because we're back. And then it ends like, oh, who's destroying these space stations? But because of the last episode, I know I'm long-winded here. I know they'll probably come back to it. But it was still weird. Just for all that to say, we're back.
Yeah,
Okay,
I did like setting up the breadcrumbs of how he's like, yeah, we'll work with you if it's convenient at the time. It sounds like something they'll bring up again and return to, which is awesome again to see that, but not something that needed to be addressed right away. So I like that. Yeah, I really liked that final scene with Picard and everything. It's, I feel like in TOS there was a lot of episodes where there was this kind of story and like the frozen human storyline wouldn't have been there. And it would have been like 50 minutes of this story and I would have come away saying like, oh, that was kind of boring, but I like the story. And everyone would have been like, oh, you have no attention span. It's a slow action episode. So maybe it's just like the frozen human storyline was like the Subway Surfers underneath the Romulan story to keep my attention.
Yeah, would this be like the balance of terror without the frozen humans?
I mean, it's a pretty good comparison just in the sense that the first Romulan episode in that way. And I think the Romulans had obviously much more screen time and Balance of Terror. But in this one, yeah, without that frozen human storyline, I think it would have been hard to make this story last for 45 minutes because unless they put more Romulan in it, because like the Romulans did not show up until the very end, and I really like that last scene, but that's all we really got.
Yeah. It's kind of cool though, just the constant tension of like, is it them or is it not? Because they've been teasing us forever.
At this point, I was gonna be pissed if it wasn't them.
So it was a great payoff because like I was on the edge of my seat, like, is it them? Is it them?
What do you think about the look of the Romulans? I was a little bit taken back at first.
Like kind of like Worf, like updated Klingon. I was kind of like, oh, okay, because that was like the main thing in TOS. Like they looked exactly like Vulcans. Yeah. So like they have like. Looks like they had plastic surgery.
Yeah, everything was just like lifted up.
But it looked like, I don't know, like a modernized version. Like their bridge still looks exactly the same from what I remember. Haircuts, and you can see people walking in the background of their bridge. I thought that was cool. And I'm just trying to remember their attitude. Like, were they like that in TOS? Like, so like, you know,
Arrogant?
Yeah.
The Romulan episode I love from TOS is the Enterprise incident with the female Romulan captain, and there's a little bit of arrogance there, but I don't think it's at the level of this. And that's why the one worry I had when they first did pop up and were arrogant is I thought they were going to go the route of like, oh, we're the new young generation of Romulans and we're going to take it. But no, they still like were representing Romulans as a whole. I think in TNG they just want to, it seems almost like Klingon and Romulans have flipped. Like now Klingons are the more peaceful ones except for the rebels. And the Romulans, they were never peaceful, but they're the more aggressive ones, it seems like. Even though it was Worf who wanted to shoot them, and it was the Romulans who didn't attack.
Yeah, true. I'm just happy they're there. You know, I'm happy we're going to get some new stories with them. I think they look great. Ship looks cool. I'm
We'll see.
I'm excited to see what's been destroying these outposts near the neutral zone. And yeah, I'm just finally glad that payoff has finally paid off.
Yeah, they're finally here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was great. It was a great time to do it. You tease it throughout the season. They show them at the finale of the season. It makes sense. And now they're in the show. It was like the one main thing missing from the show. They attempted with the Ferengi, and we'll get into that in our season discussion. But
I would have laughed so hard if it was the Ferengi. Guess what?
yeah. So yeah, this human frozen storyline. I do know that this was obviously a popular fad in the 20th century, not only from this time, but then even like Futurama. That's the whole story of that show, and that's from the late 90s into the 2000s. So the whole Walt Disney being frozen. It's a real thing. So it's kind of funny and neat to see them play on that. And then we had the three characters. I'm not going to remember their names, but it was the rich entitled guy, the musician, and the wife who her husband made her do this. She had no idea.
Mrs. Trump.
When they first showed up, I thought like, okay, these characters will all be throwaway. I won't care about any of them. But no, they gave them all distinct characters enough to where I cared about all of them, not in the sense of liking all of them, like the rich guy was very unlikable, but he ends up helping in the end, having a little bit of redemption, and he even has that introspective moment.
That I've built my whole life on knowing what's going on. For the first time, I feel completely out of touch.
So I really respected the writing of being able to kind of endear me to all three of these characters, and to the point where it's a little bit almost like, especially the musician character, I'm going to miss. Like, he was really charismatic and funny.
The whole deal was a long shot, but I figured, well, what the hell? Might as well give them the dough instead of leaving it to my ex-wives.
I mean, similar to like trying to explain the Prime Directive, it gives a reason for Picard to explain what things are like in the 24th century with his monologue. We've eliminated the need for possessions, material, all that. It's like, okay, we get a little more introspective of like what the 24th century is really like. Because they keep giving us like tidbits of like everything, but they never really laid it all out. But yeah, I am going to miss that musician. Just him and Data, becoming like friends.
Yeah.
Was great.
What say, son? You'd make a hell of a side man.
That offer does present a certain fascination.
It had some funny moments. The moment where the woman wakes up and sees Worf and passes back out. It was goofy and funny, had some nice goofy score behind it.
Yeah, I almost wished it went like almost like full comedic. Like they did a little comedic tone with that, but it'd be funny if like the next guy woke up and then saw Data and then passed out, or something. I don't know.
The third guy wakes up, sees Picard's bald head.
They say the show like talks down to people, and as soon as like the money guy comes aboard, oh, I need to check my stocks. All the wealth I've possibly accumulated. Oh, we've actually eliminated all of that. And he's like, what am I gonna do?
I liked though how he was able to throw back semi-legitimate points.
Your lawyer has been dead for centuries.
Yes, of course I know that. Rest assured, that firm is still operating.
Oh, that could be true. They could be around.
But I think they were like, eh.
I mean, even though there's no money or whatever, it's like, there's gotta be lawyers for something on Earth. So he could be right. He was at least seemed like a real human character that I could understand his motivations, even though he ended up just being like a male Karen, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just trying to think within like the realm of what he's just gone through. It's been 300 years. Everyone knows he's dead. Doesn't have any of the stuff that he's accumulated his entire life, and he's on this weird spaceship. It's like I wouldn't want to just be locked in a room with these two other people. It's like, what is going on? And then like they're talking about this like problem that's going on from their point of view because they don't know this whole Romulan deal. It's like, what is happening? So in a way, I'm sort of empathetic to it, but he was also an asshole. So, but then the musician guy just like, oh yeah, just go with the flow, man. Things don't change. Just times change. You know what I mean? Like his whole thing was just fantastic. Just quickly accumulated to everything, and he's going to be a star on Earth. I can already tell.
Yeah, and the way they talked about him when he was still passed out.
There was marked deterioration in every system of his body, probably from massive chemical abuse.
Sounds like someone who hated life.
I knew exactly what they were going for. He drank.
Yeah, but I love that they're dead wrong. Like they're like, hated to live, afraid to die. But then wakes up, he's like, oh, I just paid some dude for this. I don't know.
Yeah, I knew it was some scam. Oh god, I saw some. I mean, we know Troy's an empath. It's just a different way to be empathetic with one of them.
I mean, she is Counselor Troy, so
yeah, she did counsel.
Good use of Troy.
Yeah, she helped this woman like acclimate to the situation. Like, hey, everyone knows, but you have a relative. It's like, I mean, anyone could have looked up in the computer for it, but it was something that I don't know, something for her to do.
Just kind of seems like her job, yeah.
I mean, it literally made the joke like, Troy, you deal with them, and that was exactly it. Because Picard's like, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
You deal with it, Troy. Don't bother anyone else. Throughout the entire episode, they're talking about they've said 50 years probably like 5 times in an episode. Oh, we haven't seen them in 50 years, 50 years. The fact that none of them alive have ever dealt with Romulans, but they were all like so like, even Data, we're like, oh, given the the present situation and the sensory whatever, it's like it should probably be hostile. It's like, and Picard being the only one to be like, okay, I just feel like all of them on that side was kind of a bit like, you know what I'm saying?
Maybe a bit much, yeah.
Yeah.
I think it allowed for a strong moment for Picard, and like the whole season we've been kind of making fun of, oh, old frail Picard, but it's like it showed why you need a calm, non-aggressive captain, because if Riker had been captain in that scenario, they would have fired and probably all died. You know what I mean? So it was a nice Picard moment, but I can agree with you that, yeah, like literally everyone else on the ship wanting to fire.
Yes, I get we need to know that Picard's the captain for a reason. Like he's the guy, but at the expense of everyone being, it's like, got to find a balance somewhere. Don't have everyone involved in that, maybe.
I thought the episode was solid. I liked it for a season finale. We've had some stinkers and we've had some good ones in the past. I think this is on the side of a good one. Good season finale.
Yeah, it being a season finale and introducing current Earth, I was terrified. Because, assignment, I was terrified. But overall, I really liked it. Paid off something they've been teasing all season. And with other episodes, knowing that they do return to previous storylines, I'm pumped for what's to come.
Do you understand my meaning, Captain? We are back.
All right, we're going to jump into our patron takes. This is where our patrons tell us what they think of the episode, predict how we're going to feel, ask us questions, tell us fun facts, all of that. We only read for a few here for the video, but there's a whole discussion over on our Patreon. So go check that out, join Patreon, become part of the patron takes. Maybe you'll get featured in a video.
All right, here's an interesting one from Dion James Pittman. This episode is significant not only because of the long-awaited return of the Romulans, but also because for the first time in Trek, the actual current year of the episode, 2364, is mentioned instead of just a stardate or a vague reference to it being the 23rd or 24th century.
Oh.
The closest we got before this was the reference in The Wrath of Khan to the bottle of Romulan ale being of 2283 vintage, but as McCoy said, it took a while for that to ferment, so 2283 was already in the past. So that's interesting.
This one's from Tim. The writers have a tendency to frame current-day humans as primitive, almost an embarrassment to the humans of the future. Do you think that's a fair assessment of where we are right now? Consider that inventions like the replicator, transporter, holodeck, and so on have made the Earth of the future a paradise. I think it's pretty easy to be a saint in paradise. Yeah, we actually talk about that a lot, I think. Anytime it portrays current future humans in Star Trek 4, we talked about it a lot. And yeah, I don't think current day humans get a fair shake in Star Trek. You have to do it to an extent because there has been so much progress. They have to show it. But sometimes it is a bit much to like treat them all like, you suck, current day sucks, because we know they're making it in current day.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, sometimes I'm like, oh, they are treating it pretty harsh or telling them that like, oh, we're dumb now. But then I open Twitter and it's like, oh, well.
Oh, yeah, you're like, oh.
Oh,
yeah.
I understand now.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
All right, this one's from Chris S. Alex and Josh, unique question. What do you think of the music of the series so far? Ron Jones is universally praised as the best composer TNG ever had. Maybe not something you considered. Thoughts?
I love the music. I think it's really great. I guess I'm hard pressed to think of like a episode that had a score I really fell in love with. But yeah, just overall throughout the whole thing, I think it's been solid, and it has really added to the tension or tone of some of the episodes.
Yeah, I'm thinking of recent episodes. There's a lot of good stuff. My problem is like people's names or episode names and score is something I forget. Like I couldn't remember a single song from one of the early episodes. You know, it's something that's has to be fresh. Like the one that's really fresh in my head is the Tar Monster episode with Yasha Tar, Tasha Yar. Like it felt like very it 1990, creepy horror. But yeah, you're asking the wrong person for me.
I'll read this one from Cash Wednesday. First appearance of Romulans in TNG. They've been dropping hints all season. Do you feel they lived up to your hype/expectations? Also, how cool of a design is the Warbird? I loved the ship, the Romulan ship. I thought it looked awesome. I love that they made it a big deal when they showed it, so really liked that. But yeah, I'd say the Romulans didn't have enough time to really like live up to hyper expectations. They have one scene, but it's good.
Yeah, it was I know it came after this, but it was a Thanos at the end of the first Avengers. Just a little tease. I didn't need a big whatever space battle to finish this off. Like, and now that I know that things do get paid off later, I'm okay. It's just a little like okay, yeah, we're not. You're not proposing we work together, and it's like, and you know what, you better watch out. The "we're back" is a bit much.
I like it.
You do? It's like, okay, maybe these Romulans were raised, to hate the Federation, hate humans, so it's like, I don't know, like kind of like hyping up youngsters to go into war when they're freshly drafted, which feels messed up. But
yeah.
And then these two guys are like, yeah, we're going to go to war. Will there be a war? I don't know.
Well, let me clarify. It's absolutely too much and over the top, but I like it.
Okay, yeah.
It's the cheesy in the right way for me, It's like, we're back. I don't know, it's like gets me hyped for season 2. Like
it's like they knew. Like the writers knew they've been teasing it, so it's like finally. It was perfectly executed with not showing the ship and just teasing us the entire episode. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's it. That's season 1. So we will jump into our full season 1 discussion coming up soon, and then season 2 will start in just a few weeks. So thank you guys for joining us here on this first season. It's over, and that's it. The journey continues.
What if season 2's bad?